Welcome to another episode of Phoenix Rising, Finding Your Life Calling with Tolabeni. I am your host, and today I have with me, I'm very excited. I have all the way from Anthem, Arizona in the USA, Gunther Mueller, and Gunther is an optimal health strategist. He is also a coach who coaches on the 5-step magnetic mind method, which he's going to tell us all about. I am super excited because this method helps people create the life that they love. So who doesn't want that? Gunther, welcome to Phoenix Rising. And I'm so happy that you made it today. Please say hello to my audience.
All right, Tola, thank you so much for inviting me to Phoenix Rising here to share this message of the 5-step magnetic mind. And hello to everybody in the audience in South Africa and the world beyond. Happy to be here with you today from Phoenix, Arizona, and looking forward to an amazing conversation that hopefully creates transformation in the lives of everyone listening.
Absolutely. I love that intro. I am very excited because as I told you, when we met before, that I am super excited to learn about creating a life that I love. I mean, I don't know anybody that you can stop on the street and say, do you want to create a life that you love? And they say no.
Right.
So this applies to everyone. And I'm glad that you did say not just South Africa, not just the USA, but globally, because we have global reach. I do have people who listen in from other parts of the world as well. So
because my dad was an independent person, and he was responsible for making his own paycheck, the idea of just going and getting a job was never very pleasing to me. So I wanted to kind of do the same thing. I wanted to create my own path in life. I wanted to create my own paycheck, right? My own destiny. And so I went about that path. And, I know for certain that we learn things through failure.
Yes.
Because even though I've had much success, I've had more failure. Okay.
I'm so glad you're saying that. Yes.
Yeah. And with failure, and this is why it applies to the magnetic mind method, because look, at the end of the day, we want what we desire.
Yeah.
We want to have that which we would love to experience. Right. And I think the human experience overall, from me looking back now and saying, okay, what can I say is true here? The human experience is one in which we desire less pain and more satisfaction.
Yeah.
It's not even that we go to the end of extreme that we want pleasure. We would be very happy with just satisfaction in life, and almost even accepting mediocrity in life, as long as it doesn't include pain.
Yeah.
Right? Success may not be, being a billionaire or having millions of dollars. There's many people that have a lot of money that are still miserable in their life. And for people that maybe don't have a lot of money, they think that money is the answer to everything. And I'm here to tell you that it's not.
Yeah.
Because who you are right now in this moment, money is just going to magnify who you are. So if you're a generous person, it's going to magnify your generosity. If you're a tight person with your resources, it's going to magnify how tight you are. So I like to set the context in life that the future is not going to be better than the present. The future is just going to be different than the present.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can hold that in our mind and become okay with the present moment, right? If we can just for a moment find a contentment, find a gratitude for what just is now, then we can position ourselves to be in the powerful position of choosing something different. And this is how I believe the phoenix rises. Okay, the phoenix rises because everything goes away, everything turns to ashes, everything turns to dust, And it's in that moment when you are completely bottomed out. And I've had to reinvent myself probably 5, 6, 7 times in my life. I lose track sometimes.
Yeah.
From the different industries that I've been in. I've been in coffee and solar and food distribution. I've owned restaurants. And like I said, I failed more than I've succeeded. But in the failure, I had success before the failure happened, or what people might deem as failure. But it's really looking back, hindsight being 2020, it is all of those experiences. It is all of that put together that puts me in the power position that I am in today, to be able to see things that other people might not see, because I have such a vast experience of experiences now
To draw from, yes.
to draw from, right? And had I not gone through, call it the painful or the pain that I've been through, I would not be able to just know what it feels like to be in a place that today you may say, I don't want to be in that place. But what I know is that we need to find a place of contentment with what is now in order to be released from that situation, to attract into our life that which we love.
Yeah.
That which we would truly just desire. And that is when you learn how to do that, life becomes very freeing. Life becomes a place of power and choice.
I like that. So now we're getting into conscious creating, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what does it mean to be a conscious creator?
So when you become a super conscious creator, you get to the place where you can turn thoughts into things.
Mm-hmm.
And there's 3 places that we can be in. We can be stuck, meaning nothing is really changing.
Yeah.
Everything just stays the same. And no matter what you do, you can't change it. And so it's a feeling of being stuck. The middle is kind of this place I call oscillation. You're oscillating. That feels like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back, 1 step forward, half step back, right?
Yeah.
It's like we get close to having what we want, and then it slips through our fingers, or we create a thing that we like, and then it vaporizes and we go back to the way it was. The third place that we can be is this place of flow, where a lot of your professional athletes will speak about being in the zone or being in flow, that, they see that amazing goal shot in their mind, or a basketball shot, or whatever it is, and it happens the way they saw it. That's the turning thoughts into things. And
right.
It's a magical experience, a little bit, of how things kind of come together. Okay. So being the creator of your life kind of sounds like this. It sounds like this. Okay. I choose to live my true nature and purpose. It's a choice. I choose to really live my true nature and my purpose here. I choose to be the predominant creative force in my life. Notice I'm choosing it. I choose to be that predominant creative. I didn't say the only creative force in my life, but the major or the predominant creative force in my life.
Is it kind of like a director of your own life? You're sitting in the director's chair, right?
I love that. And right there, I'm going to say, look, what if we're living a holographic movie? What if everything we see and everything's going on, and I'm touching on the quantum physical reality now, the actual reality and nature of the universe that we live in. What if we are the director, the producer, the script writer of the movie that we are living? And what if we are that conscious creator creating a holographic movie? Now, a lot of people listening may be saying that's not possible because I wouldn't choose this movie. I don't like the movie that I'm seeing right now.
Yes.
Very resistant to that thought. There is no way that I created this pain and suffering or this reality that I'm experiencing right now. But I have to suggest to all the listeners in the audience and saying that the reality of the universe is that we are responsible on a level for that which we experience. And
very hard truth to swallow, hey?
It
So
is.
I just want to
It is.
pause for a moment and say that is very difficult to understand because I have been there many times. Anyway,
Yes.
carry on.
Yeah, so it's a hard one, and we have to let that one bake just for a minute. We have to let that cake
Yeah.
bake a little bit in the oven, and we don't have a lot of time to go into all the science.
Yes.
But I'm going to share this science right now, since you brought that up, because it is an important thing to address. In the quantum physical science, and if anybody has studied it at all, or they understand that there is a field of infinite possibilities, the scientist, when they go to study the particles that make up the universe, meaning photons of light, quarks, and all these different particles that when you read quantum physical textbooks, it's not easy reading, right? And they have these particle accelerators in Switzerland and different places where they've done these experiments. What the scientist now knows is that the particle does not even show up until the observer intends to work with that particle. That is conscious creation. That is manifestation, meaning the photon, the quark, the particle that they're going to work with does not even come into reality until the observer or the scientist intends to work with it. So if we extrapolate,
is it similar to saying what we focus on grows?
exactly,
Yes,
those are my words,
exactly. You get
exactly.
what you focus on. Yes.
Yes, it is that focus, is that intention.
Yes.
And if we allow ourselves to be reactive to the current conditions, and all we're doing is reacting to what we see, reacting to what is, and we put our energy and we put our focus into the problem, and we try to figure out a solution to the problem, our creative energy is going into growing the actual problem.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's what I mean by we have created, that's what we experience. Because in any culture, in any society, you can find examples of people that are not suffering in the same way, let's say, that have a different reality experience, even though they exist in the same movie, in the same picture, in the same reality. Their individual life experience is different than the others. And there's a myriad of stories that we can tell, excuses that we can make, reasons that we can come up with as to why something is not fair, not right, not equal.
We say it's luck. You are lucky.
Luck. Yes. Oh, that person has better luck than I do. I am an unlucky person.
Yes.
And that's going to lead us into the thing around identity. And I'm going to suggest this right now, that the identity that we have crafted over a lifetime, it is our identity that is creating the current experience.
You're going to have to say that again.
Right? The identity that we have created. And what do I mean by identity? We all carry some self-sabotaging identities around with us, all of us.
Yes.
And I'm going to share the top 6. The top 6 self-sabotaging identities are: number 1, I am not good enough to have what I want. I'm not good enough to have what I love. There's something in my identity that is speaking up and saying, you are not good enough to have that which you desire, to have that which you love. A variation, second one is, I am not worthy.
Yeah.
There's something that has happened that my worth, my internal idea, my identity of whether I am worthy or not lands on the side of that I am not worthy, right? The next one is I'm not capable. I don't have enough education. I'm not smart enough. I'm not from the right family. There's some condition in my life that I'm not capable to have what I want, to have what I would love to experience. The next one is I'm insignificant. I'm not big enough. I'm too small.
Yes. Who am I? Who am I to do that?
Yeah. Who am I to have that amazing life that I see other people have in the world, right? especially when we look at celebrities or we look
Yes.
at professional athletes or we look at famous anybody, and that's the two-edged sword of social media today, is we see things, and again, everybody just presents their
The best.
best picture, their best image, and
Absolutely.
we believe that is the only reality, that everything is just so perfect and so great. And so if we believe that we're insignificant, we're too small, and we say, oh, I can't have that. Another thing is, I'm not perfect, is an underlying self-sabotaging identity, that I can't have what I want until the conditions are perfect. Or there's some aspect of myself that I need to fix. I need to
To
fix
work on.
something to
Yeah.
become perfect enough to have that, what I want. And then the other one, the last one, is I don't belong. Okay, if there's this thought of, some people have the thought that they don't even belong in their own family, right? They don't even belong with their own relatives, that they're this black sheep, or they
I
don't
was
fit
going to
in.
say, yes, the black sheep. When you identify as a black sheep, you are already saying, I don't belong in this family.
Right, right. And so if we have the identities, any of those identities, or a million aspects of those identities, we are creating the movie to reflect that identity, because the human mind wants nothing more than to be right. We want to be right. So if we're not good enough, if we believe somewhere internally that we're not good enough, guess what? The
It
movie or
proves
the
to us.
reality
Mhm.
proves us right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then the next question then is, well, how do we shift this identity, or where did this identity come from? Because if the identity is causing my reality or creating my reality, then how do we change that? The truth. Everything that has ever been created that you see in the physical world has been created twice.
What?
Once in the
Okay.
imagination, your building, your automobile, your food, your whatever, your clothes, everything has been created once in the mind,
Yeah.
and then
In the
in
physical.
reality, in the physical, right? So you as a creator can do the same thing. You imagine yourself, let's use the gym example, you imagine yourself moving your body in a way that is pleasing to you, that you just love doing. It's not a resistance thing. It's not a thing where you have to fight yourself to go do it. You love going to the gym. You love sweating. You love getting to work out. You love going for a run. You love going for a ski or a hike or a bike ride or a walk with the dog around the block or wherever you are, right? It's an activity that becomes something that you just love engaging in, because the willpower and motivation don't last very long. We all know this from our active experience,
Yep.
right? I mean, just think about New Year's resolutions and how long they last. A week, 2 weeks,
Yeah.
maybe a month. Okay. And we do the same thing every year. This year is going to be different. This year is going to be different. And then we let it go. We quit. We don't follow through. So the process of manifestation and creating a life that you love, those 5 steps, I want to run through them real quick. We need to have a true choice is step number 1. It's the most important step. It's the most difficult step. We need to get clear on what we want. And when we know we're in a true choice, when we know we're in a true desire, it's when we ask ourselves the question, why do I want that? That thing that I'm choosing, why do I want it? If the answer is, I want it just because I want it. I want it just because I would love to experience it. Then you know you're in a true choice. Because if the answer comes back, I want this thing because when I have that, I can have something else, that thing is not the true choice. The something else is the true choice. So I work a lot with entrepreneurs, people that want to start a business, and they say, Gunther, I need a successful business. I want to create a business of my own because I'm tired of working for somebody else. I'm going to start my own business because when I have my own business, then I can be financially free. I can be financially independent. I can do the things that I want to do. And I have to say, time out, wait a second. If that business or that thing that you're telling me you want to do is not the end result in itself that you would love to do, you might be creating frustration. You might be creating more pain for yourself in doing something that's not the true choice. Because let's say the end result is the feeling of abundance, the experience of abundance, the experience just of having more than enough. I would say to you, is there anything right now in your life that you can get into the feeling of abundance, that you can get into the experience of abundance? And most people initially say, no, I don't have anything. There's nothing in my life. And I will come back and say, look, I want you to focus on breathing. When's the last time you woke up in the morning wondering if there was enough air to breathe today? Have you ever done that? Not really, right? So right there, we can get into the experience and an experience of abundance just by thinking about or being in that my breath and my breathing is unlimited. I can breathe as hard as I want, as fast as I want, for as long as I want, and I am not going to run out of air. There is more air available to me than I can consume ever. So right there, I don't care where you are, what situation you're in, anywhere you are in the world right now, you can find a quiet place to be for a moment. And you can have the experience of abundance just in your own breath. Because it's limitless, the amount of air supply to me. And what if money could become like air? What if love could become like air? What if health could become like air? Because there's really three buckets in the human experience: more money, more love, and more health.
And you know what I've learned about money too, Gunther, is that it's not even the money that most people want. It's the feeling it gives you. So when you ask people, what do you want? I want freedom. I want to sleep at night and not think about bills that are unpaid. So it's not necessarily the physical, the bills, the money. It's the feeling that you have when you have lots of money in the bank.
It's the feeling of having more than enough, no matter what the bank account says you have. Because I will tell you that if you have a monthly budget, and if you have $1 more than your monthly budget, you have more than you need. That is where abundance starts.
Yes.
So people can immediately get into a financial abundance mentality by choosing to spend or use less than they have. And if you can just get to that place for, let's say, a couple months in a row, okay, where you actually are experiencing abundance by having more than you need and recognizing it. Instead of lusting for more and more and more and saying, I cannot experience abundance or having more than enough or freedom until I have a certain number in my bank account.
Yeah.
You are trapping yourself in that I
Yes.
cannot be abundant until I see this number in my bank account.
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell you that the number doesn't matter. Some people, you know, in the United States, I deal with a lot of people, they say, oh, if I could make $100,000, or if I could have $100,000 in the bank account, then I can be happy. Then I can feel free. Then I can have what I want. Then I'll be able to treat people more generously. Doesn't work that way.
Doesn't work that way.
We need to be in the experience right now That which we want, we need to feel and experience right now in this moment, even if it's only in our imagination.
Yes.
So that the identity can shift, so that the holographic movie or the current reality can shift with the identity. So if it's, let's say, an issue, go ahead.
So then the question most people would probably like to ask is, does one have to be spiritual then in order to create the life that they love?
So I'm going to answer that. The short answer is no. And the second answer is, there are so many spiritual traditions in the world today that having to, let's say, take spirituality as a requirement to having the life that you love or experiencing what you want, we would be here all day in trying to determine which spirituality
Exactly.
is the
How
key.
much of it?
Yes, which one is it? Which one do I need to practice? What do I need to do? And that's why I'm saying you're not broken.
Yeah.
Okay, there's nothing that we need to fix. Your spirituality, your worldview, your way of looking at the world is just what is now. It is the way your identity has been formed through your life. And it's not bad, it's not wrong, it's not good, it's just what is. It's what is right now in its entire context and everything that is. And it all exists in the field of infinite possibilities. And so our power is in the moment of choosing. We choose what we love. We choose what we want to experience, even if in the beginning we're only choosing it in our imagination. So that our body, so that our mind, so that our spiritual being can have that experience, if only for short moments at a time. And we focus on what we love, and we take obvious action that aligns ourselves with that true choice, whether it's abundance or infinite optimal health, or desiring an intimate relationship with a spouse, or great relationship with your kids, or a wonderful relationship with your employer, with your employees, or wherever you find yourself right now, whatever it is that you desire, whatever it is that's keeping you up at night and steals and robs your sleep from you, you make a choice around that to choose to experience what you would love. Not necessarily the opposite. It doesn't always have to be the opposite of what is now, but it's spending a moment in time and really getting in to that still small voice that is inside of us and connecting with that super conscious realm and listening and asking for the answers. I always say this in prayer, we do too much talking. We need to do more listening. Got 2 ears, 1 mouth.
Yeah.
Use it that way, right? And listen for what the obvious actions are. Feel the desire, contemplate that which you love. Because a lot of times I ask people, what would you love to create? And the instantaneous answer is, I have no idea. I don't know, right? And I like to say then, well, if you don't know, who should I ask?
So it goes back to what you said. The first step, the very first step, is to be very clear on what it is that you want.
Yes. And not just what you want, what you'd love to experience. We need to put this word in there, because it's not just one thing that I want. It's the thing that I want more than anything else. It's the thing that I would just love to experience.
Yeah.
Me, my person. And how, most of us have been trained to make decisions, especially in the days of social media now. We're not choosing what we love. Many times we're choosing what our friends will approve of, or who's in our world, will they accept my true choice?
Yeah.
Maybe there's 3 choices in front of us and we choose the one that is less evil. That's not a true choice. That's just the choice by elimination, or it's a choice by default. And not choosing is a choice.
Yes.
Okay. So practicing or really getting into the first step of the magnetic mind method is to have a true choice. And when you contemplate a true choice, the answer, if I were to be your coach and I was to be there next to you and ask you, I would ask, why do you want that? I'm looking for the answer. I want it just because I want it. I want it because I would love to experience that. I love it. That's what I want. I
It's what
want
you
this
want.
experience, right?
Yeah.
It's what I truly want. My being, it has nothing to do with social media. It has nothing to do with who's going to approve of my choice. It has nothing to do with anybody going to validate my choice or tell me that my choice is okay. My choice, it's just what I love. I want it more than anything else. This is what I would just love to experience, and being it from your own person. The second step that we have to do is we have to create the structural tension, because the mind likes to resolve tension. And structure is just the relationship between 2 points. And so we create structural tension in the mind by saying, this is what I'd love, and this is the way it is now. This is what I would love to experience. This is the way it is now. And we just create this structural tension, not in a judgmental way, not in a better or worse way, but we just look at what is now and we say, this is what it feels like. This is how it feels, the way it is right now. And my true choice, that's the way it feels. If I were having what I would love, I would feel this way. So we're creating just a structural tension between the way it is now and the way I would love it to be. The way it is now, the way I would love it to be. And then the third step is to get into the deep emotion of that end result, just by simply asking, what does it feel like to have that? And most people go right into what they would be doing. And I'll give you an example. Somebody might say, well, if I had all the money and I had abundance and everything like that, I'd be driving a Ferrari or a Lamborghini and I'd live in a 10,000 square foot house. And okay, that's what you would be doing. I'm not concerned with what you would be doing. I want to know what it feels like to drive a Ferrari. I want to know what it feels like to live in a 10,000 square foot house. I want to know what it feels like to have an intimate relationship. I want to know what it feels like to be healthy and vibrant, and your body just tell me what it feels like. So feelings are things like confidence, freedom, exciting, wonderful, powerful, invigorating, creative, right?
Exciting.
Those are the feelings. What does it feel like to have that true choice? Because we need the intention and we need the emotion to manifest the collapsing of the field of that true choice to show up in our reality, right? And what I do in my coaching, then the fourth step of the magnetic mind method is to do a recode. We call it the magnetic mind recode. And what we're doing is we're going to the subconscious from the superconscious level instead of from the conscious level. And we are going to that highest version of ourselves. And we ask superconscious, and I do it as a coach for you. You give me permission to work with your superconscious. I enter into your field. Okay, it takes a little bit of practice to do this, but essentially we're asking superconscious, do you see the true choice? Do you see what I would just love? And superconscious is infinite. Superconscious knows everything, sees in it everything, infinite field of possibilities. This is who we forgot that we were.
Yes.
Okay, this aspect of ourselves. And so in this fourth step, we are connecting with superconscious to say, superconscious, do you see what I love? And can you see the resistance that's in the way of me, the main personality that I am? Can you see the resistance that's in the way of me having what I want? And superconscious will affirm this is, yes, I see that resistance. It's there. There's something that's in the way. And now we don't need to problem solve. We don't need to figure out what it is. We don't need to figure out when it happened, why it happened. We don't need to sit on the psychiatrist's bench for 5 years or 10 years trying to figure out, well, what happened with my mother and father? What happened in this bad
In your
event? What
childhood.
happened in my childhood? What happened to we don't need to spend any time doing that. So I don't want anybody to go in that realm. We just ask super conscious, do you see the resistance? Do you see the identity that is presenting resistance to me having what I want? And super conscious says, of course I do. I say, I know every event, I know every
Mhm.
emotion, I know everything that's ever happened to you
Yeah.
because I was there. Okay. So that's how super conscious knows. And we just ask super conscious, can you treat it? Can you treat that resistance? Can you do a massive change history in the perfect
Uh-huh.
way, in the perfect order? Can you just please realign that subconscious program? Okay. And you know the verse, ask and you shall receive, right? We are asking for what we want from that highest version of ourselves. Do you see what I would love to experience? Do you see the resistance in the way? Can you recode that resistance? Can you make that resistance just melt away
Yeah.
and vanish? Because it no longer serves me. I made those choices and I made those decisions and I created that entity to keep myself out of pain and create satisfaction. But today, as an adult, those decisions and where I am now and where I want to go, that identity no longer serves me where I want to go, where I'm choosing to go. So, can you please fix that? And I don't mean fix like it's broken, I mean update it,
Change,
just
yeah.
like
Update the
just do it.
software.
Yeah, update the code, update the software
Yeah.
so that it's in alignment with where I would love to go right now. And superconscious says, yes, of course I can do that for you. And so it does this recoding of the identity so that the identity can shift and so that we can become more congruent in our identity with the true choice. This is how we can manifest. And then the fifth step is really to take obvious action. So you can ask superconscious and say, hey, what is the next obvious thing that I should do that is in alignment with my true choice, and receive the answer. Let it come in. Don't rationalize it. Don't suppress it. Don't push it away. Don't tell a story about that obvious action. Just write it down. When you get that message from your superconscious, don't judge it. Don't have to figure it out. Just write it down and just let it be for a moment. Okay? And just see what is. And when that feels like it came from that highest self of your being, then take that obvious action on some sort of faith. Move in that direction. Take that action step, that obvious action. You'll see the more obvious action you take in alignment with that choice, you'll see that the movie begins to shift. The opportunities, the people, some people may go away, some people may show up. Circumstances magically change.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, things are different. There's a shift that just happens. That is how we become super conscious to create the life that we love as soon as possible. Because super conscious has to create the circumstances, the conditions, the people, all of that stuff, even in the midst of complete chaos.
Yeah.
You can experience a life that you love by focusing your energy on what you want, what you love, even though other people and other circumstances and other conditions don't make sense. For you in your life stream, this is the phoenix rising, right? You are choosing that reality. You are being clear on what it is you'd love, and you get connected with that highest version of yourself, and you bring that reality into your space. Is it going to happen by tomorrow morning? No.
Probably not.
It has to happen in the imagination first. We need to be it, feel it, so that we can see it in real life. And we do it in a way, a graceful way. because we're all good at picking up a stick and beating ourselves over the head and saying, oh, I didn't do it good enough. I didn't do it long enough. I didn't do it right. I didn't do it the proper way, or whatever it is. None of that has any benefit. We engage with this work in a very graceful way, in a way of choosing what we'd love. And we spend some time figuring out what we love. We get into that emotion. We ask our superconscious to please melt away any resistance that might be in the way of me experiencing and having that which what I want. And we ask for any obvious action steps that we could take, and we take them. And when we do those things, we're sending that signal into that superconscious field, into that quantum physical reality of infinite possibilities, and we begin drawing that choice into our present moment experience. And we don't need to know how, we just need to know what
it is. I love that. Gunther, we are coming to the top of the hour. This has been such an engaging discussion. Like, I'm just sitting here soaking it all in like a sponge. I love this discussion. So,
and for some of the listeners, I just want to say, you might have to listen to this conversation again.
Yes,
we don't all get everything the first time.
Yes, there are
so
many.
Don't just say, oh, I listened to that, I got it, but I didn't get it.
Exactly.
Listen to it again. If you have any resonance with what the conversation we had today and what we talked about today, listen to it again. Let that cake bake. Let this information permeate your being.
I was going to ask you, how do they get a hold of you, or, to learn more about the magnetic mind method? That was going to be my next question.
Yeah, the best place is dreamlifemasters with an s.com. So dreamlifemasters.com. I have some free resources there for people that would like to learn a little bit more. There's some great videos on there where I go deeper into the science of manifesting. So for anybody that has resonated with our conversation today, dreamlifemasters.com. And if there is someone out there that wants to experience a one-on-one recode with me, they can go to Quest for the Quan. So QuestFortheQuan. So Quest for the Quan, spelled out, .com. And I usually charge $397 for an hour and a half of my time to do this 5 steps and to get into the recode. But for your listeners today, I'll do it for $109. Okay, $109 is about an hour and a half with me. We go through all the 5 steps and we do the recode, and you will feel this shift in your being of the identity moving. And then, it's a process. I work with people on a regular basis. I do that coaching, but I pray also that people can learn to do this on their own, or they might work with me for a little while to learn how to do this, to really, become it. Because when you learn how to become super conscious, you just learn how to do this recoding of the resistance. You take the obvious action to turn your thoughts into things, and life becomes easy.
Yeah.
Life becomes a flow.
Bring this one to a close. If we have more questions, or depending, we can always invite you again to come and, get a bit deeper or talk about other aspects of the program.
Yeah, what we could do on a show is we could do a live recode.
Yes.
Like I'd be happy to do that. We could actually do a show that is a recode. So if you're listening to this and you would like us to do that, we need feedback. You gotta tell us that you would love to have a recode experience.
In action. Absolutely. Gunther, it's been such a pleasure and an honor to have you with me to talk about these things. Again, I have learned so much, and I'm sure I'm not the only person who has benefited. Surely the audience has benefited a lot from this discussion, and I will definitely put your contact details on the show notes and link you, your Instagram. You do have Instagram, right?
I don't know. It's more Facebook and LinkedIn.
Okay, you're more on
Facebook.
Facebook.
Guy,
okay.
Or just get on my list at dreamlifemasters.com and you'll get updates and things like that from me.
All right. Well, that's good. Otherwise, let's bring this to a close. Everybody, I am so happy that you joined us to listen to this discussion. And if you have any questions, please do reach out. And we will meet again next week on another episode of Finding Your Life Calling with Tolabeni. Goodbye.